Hello, everyone watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. It is another episode of NRG Insights.
Someone's got to give me a chance, and people are giving me a chance, but I haven't. I hear a lot in the industry. It's like, oh, they've got a few grey hairs. They know what they're talking about. I don't have any grey hairs,
That's
and I probably won't for another, 10, 15 years. So I do kind of feel like people's perceptions on paper is that you need to kind of be within your the latter part of your career to know what you're talking about. But I've been really lucky at Brightstar. I mean, the level of volume that we do, the type of caliber of cases that we look at, I've had exposure to quite a lot of different things. And
There are people in it 15 years who are not good. There
yeah,
are people in it like yourself who've done it 4 and have been exposed to fantastic mentors and products and technical knowledge. So it's not, we all know it's not about age. It's about the trust side of things as well. You come across as very articulate as well. You obviously know what you're talking about. So hopefully that breaks down the barrier. We're not talking about children selling mortgages. You're an adult. You're a different generation to the guys you're selling to, or people selling to.
yeah, exactly. And I think I was talking to my mum about this a few weeks ago. Actually, she was talking about how her perception has changed as a someone in the generation above me, as to if she was going to obtain a commercial mortgage now that her children are adults as well. Would have always thought of it slightly differently, and she would have thought, oh, I need someone with a little bit of age who's been doing it a while. But we was trying to work out what job you actually do need someone with a bit of age, because is it just a brain surgeon that you want them to have done 150
Yeah, 100%,
operations?
yeah.
But it's there's so many jobs where you may be inferior in your career, but you don't have to be inferior in your knowledge. And I think there's the technical side of the work, but then there's also this work is my life right now. I don't have a family like
Yeah, yeah.
kids. I don't have this is I want to be the best, and I am hungry to be the best. So I'm going to put in more work potentially than someone that's been doing it 20 years,
And
because
also,
I'm
you
trying to
haven't
prove
got bad
myself.
habits either, right? You haven't done it 15 years ago. You go, we've always done it like this.
Yeah, I know.
Every new process and every new policy or whatever, every new bridging is not an old, but I mean, it's relatively old, but it's not like most of the stuff we do now is relatively new. So,
Yeah.
if you are a bit of a dinosaur, you're probably missing out on stuff that you see straight away. So there's definitely advantages to take, for being in that younger generation.
And dynamic. Everything's changing so frequently. It's not just bridging is new, but products are
Yeah.
changing, criteria is changing, policies are changing. And if you're not keeping up to date with it, and if you're not fast, and you're not willing to kind of utilize the tech that's available, then you're missing out on
I think, especially because I'm coming into it, into the industry, and the same for anyone in any role in the industry, you just want to be surrounded by people to bounce off of. So I'm chatting to the credit guys now, quick 5 second conversation. Could we do this deal? Whereas if I'm sat at home, I've got to call someone up. They've got to be free. They're probably in the shower or making a coffee or tossing about.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's definitely better to be in the office personally. I think I actually enjoy the atmosphere of it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm in my 20s. I'm sure when I'm 45 or 50 and I've got kids running around to look after whatever, I probably would think differently. So it's about that work-life balance. But at
Yeah.
the moment, I just want to be around everyone else and sort of learning. And I think it's just more efficient to get stuff done.
100%. I don't think that people. Well, I've done it before. I've had a working from home team, and it was through COVID. And I honestly think that we would still have that team if they could have been in the office. Well, we call it learning by osmosis. You're just sat near good people, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just get to hear it, and you miss all the nuances of the little bits that you can't train someone on, or you don't think to put it in a training manual. I think that's the important bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So talk to the BDM roles. That let's dispel the myth that people go to BDM roles because it's nice to go see brokers and get donuts and coffee. It's a tough gig, right? And I speak to BDMs who have been doing it 15, 20 years, and it's hard. But there is this perception of, oh, you just pop out and see people. But there's so much more to being actually developing business, isn't there? Rather than, it's not the donuts.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I guess that as part of a small company and having done this previous role under Cameron, we still do all the other sort of side of things. Even up to underwriting and dipping our toe in that. So yeah, there's a lot of responsibility. I think people maybe don't realise. They think you're the sort of face of the business, but with that, there's a lot of responsibility. The worst thing we can do is let people down or overpromise and underdeliver. What was I going to say? There was
So just in regards to the it's not your 9 to 5, is it? I think that's the thing that
Oh
people
yeah,
forget.
yeah.
You're not.
Yeah,
You've got to
in
do your job when you get in from work.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
said.
And also it just you've got to have a social battery. I mean, myself and the other George here at Avonmore, we're both at the same kind of level as newly promoted BDMs. We're sort of saying, we're trying to catch up on our personal lives, but there's just no
Yeah,
time at
yeah,
the moment.
yeah.
I've got bills to pay and God knows what. Um,
Well, he's sounding old already.
yeah,
You're an
we've
old BDM.
got to organise our events with mates and stuff. But at the moment, it's about seeing brokers, travelling is a lot of it. I think you just got to is having the energy and to being able to present to
Yeah,
people and have the knowledge to know
yeah.
who you're meeting.
How easy was it for you to get a job outside of banking, obviously, because you've done that as a kind of as a junior? But how easy was it for you to get into the specialist finance world?
I was quite fortunate, really. Obviously, I had a good 3.5 years experience at a corporate like that, which looked good in my CV and all of that.
Yeah.
And he used me it gave me a foothold to get into the business where I've been at Blueberry for 3.5 years now. Started off as a case manager, and I've been very fortunate that Blueberry have really supported me in becoming an advisor, and all of that side of
How
things.
long was that process? How long was the process from going from admin to broking?
About I'd say year and 3 months, maybe a year and a half. And then last 2.5 years have been qualified, and I think that I needed that initial. I would highly recommend if someone's getting into it. It may feel like a bit of a slog at the start, maybe the pay's not as good, and maybe you feel like you're kind of stuck at a dead end. But it gives you that you need that year and a half to get good at those sorts of things. It gives you a good background of underwriting, packaging cases, all the things you're going to need to understand as a broker.
Yeah. That's a very mature way to look at it as well as a young man, because you speak to so many people who go, I want to be a 6-figure broker. But that's cool, but you don't know. Everyone does, right? And there's not many of them, if I'm honest. There's everyone that says they are, but
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
100. But having the actual foothold into like the admin side and that kind of thing. I know there's a few people on the podcast who are much senior who have said the same thing. There's nothing wrong with starting your career, taking a couple of years to actually learn the ropes. I think it is I'm speaking to a young guy now, but there is a perception of like short-term gratification as the younger generation come through. Kind of you want everything a bit faster paced. So it's really interesting to hear that actually you took that time out to go, right, I know where I want to be, and it's going to take me X amount of years, as opposed to give it to me now.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think to anyone, there's a lad I go to the gym with, and he's working in a trade, and he said he wants to get into mortgages, and I said to him, you start as an admin, do a year as an admin, and then start learn your CMAP whilst you're doing it on the job,
Yeah.
and it will give you such a better understanding, such a better appreciation for the job as well. The knowledge you'll learn from doing that, it makes it so much easier when you come to City CMAP, when you come to give your first advice. You feel like you've done it all, apart from the advice piece. You've done the rest of it. You know what you're doing. It's just getting
Yeah.
through the advice and the people skills and all of that, which you'll build as an admin anyway. So I think it's massively undervalued.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've spoke to hundreds of business owners, and but again, it is a very mature way of looking at it. When you were 20 odd,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wanted to that you understand the importance of it. So what advice would you give if someone wants to get into it at the moment? Obviously, we've said start from the bottom, but what skills do people need, and what do people need to really think about when it comes to joining the financial services industry?
I think you got to be willing. I know we've already covered it, to start to sacrifice a year or two, maybe just to start from the bottom and work your way up. I think you've got to be willing to sacrifice for it as well, and really dedicate yourself to it. Again, I've only started doing it recently, with a year and a half. But really network, get your name out there, speak to people, go to events, post on social media. And at first, when I first started doing it, I thought, oh God, is this it's a bit. But then once
Everyone likes doing it. Everyone thinks it comes naturally to everyone. We're like,
yeah.
not natural for. I mean, it's probably more natural for you, right, than maybe the generation before, because I think the younger generation do naturally post online and
Yeah.
let people know what they're doing on there. So it's probably easier to lead into. But I do understand what you're saying. It's very still quite daunting, isn't it? That
Yeah.
you're kind of giving advice online to someone you can't see.